Good question. Which 90s NFL teams were the best that didn't make the Super Bowl? Two come to mind. I know it's easy to say the 49ers from 92, but they had one. But the Broncos in 96, with Elway and them, when they lost to Jacksonville, was a stunner. I remember that year because Jacksonville had beaten Buffalo, and Tony Baselli was playing out his mind on the line. And when they beat the Bills, that was like the end of with Jim Kelly. It was like a wow. But then they beat the Broncos, and the Broncos like they were possessed. That's when they had Terrell Davis, Sharp Elway, and that was a surprise because they made it for the next 2 years. They redeemed themselves, but that was a biggie. That was a big upset. That was actually a time when the wild cards and you had games where you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming because Jacksonville had beaten the Broncos, and that was like big news. Elway, it was like looking like he was going back to Super Bowl and got denied. So that was a huge one. I think that thinking, wow, Jacksonville looked like they were on to something in a way. So that was a real like wow. That was a shakeup. Sometimes you remember some of these games and you got to have a flashback because it's like, well, you got to think, was that a fluke that they did they come in what they did? So that was saying something. But that Minnesota 98 team was 15-1. Let's say Randall Cunningham was playing out his mind. Denny Green. Gary Anderson was a sure-footed kicker. So you didn't think they were going to miss. And Randy Moss, that, that's how we get into the debates of how great Randy Moss, because he played incredible. And he had a lot of people who were doubting him. A lot of people say, oh, And then he turned out to be one of the greatest talents ever, one of the greatest players ever. But that team did not make the Super Bowl. 15-1 did not make the Super Bowl. That Broncos team, let's say 13-3, 13-4 overall when they lost to Jacksonville. So when we look at totality and we think about some of these teams, you're thinking, wow, that was some great teams that didn't make it. That's a wow. It's like, woo, not seeing it coming to pass. So, it's kind of like, where do you come down on it? How does it make you feel when you think about it? Because they were two of the best teams that did not get it. And, you are in a situation where, in hindsight, you're trying to, it's just so much about how you execute what you do and how these teams play so great during the regular season, but how they come up so short postseason and having that tag on you that you can't ever get it done. So it's always hard to not